Day 18, and we're talking about why women in perimenopause and menopause start to develop higher risk of autoimmune disease. Now, as you know, it's not just autoimmune conditions, but we suddenly lose hormones and are at higher risk for all kinds of other conditions like heart disease, Alzheimer's disease. And so a lot of it comes down to inflammation. So we need to start there, but we also need to look at what's going on with hormones and with the integrity of our gut microbiome. That's what protects us from all of the 99.9% of the pathogens that pass through. And if those tight junctions are nice and tight, they're naturally letting in and out individual nutrients and amino acids, but what's not supposed to happen is that they get stuck open, letting out partially undigested protein sequences into the bloodstream where your immune system is like, wait a minute, I'm going to protect my human. Nothing like this should ever be in the bloodstream. And so it starts to go after other organs by accident and destroy other tissues. Dr. Alessio Fasano out of Harvard says that you can't have autoimmune disease without leaky gut or intestinal permeability. There's also a genetic component and an environmental component, which is usually some sort of an infection or pathogen or a food sensitivity. So we need to look at all of those areas, but specifically with the loss of estrogen and testosterone. Estrogen protects the integrity of the gut lining and protects against autoimmune disease. And testosterone is also known to protect against autoimmune disease as well as cardiovascular disease. The last I heard, there was well over 100 different autoimmune conditions, and they just added a couple more. But at the end of the day, it kind of just depends on where your genetic weak link is, where it shows up. Now, the root cause is it's starting in the gut with leaky gut or intestinal permeability. And then wherever it goes from there, once it hits your bloodstream, is it might show up for one person in their gut, but for other people, it might be their thyroid or their skin or their brain or their joints. We can heal and seal that and stop you from getting other autoimmune conditions, because if you have one, you're likely to have more. We can manage gut health and heal the gut lining and heal and seal those tight junctions. Make sure there's a good juicy mucosal barrier protecting it. Make sure you're rotating your foods. That's one of the reasons that it's so important is food sensitivities have up to a 72-hour delay. And so it tends to be the foods that we're eating over and over and over that our bodies will develop a food sensitivity to. And we can protect against that by diversifying our diet, by increasing microbial diversity in the gut and therefore immune tolerance, by rotating proteins so that you're not just eating chicken every day and suddenly your body is reacting to chicken or to eggs or whatever it may be, and rotating those vegetables out too, rotating your nuts and seeds, figuring out, is there a food sensitivity that your body is reacting to? And again, it can be tough because there can be up to a 3-day delay, but start to really pay attention. And that's where something like an elimination diet or an autoimmune paleo diet can help you figure out, or we can do testing. Let's make sure that you are lowering inflammation, that you're eating plenty of gut healing nutrients and compounds. That's where these dietary polyphenols, dietary fibers, aim for 30 to 35 grams, plenty of protein. Make sure that you're getting resistant starch foods that are anti-inflammatory, that tell our bodies to heal and seal tight junctions. Even foods with natural sources of collagen and gelatin, things like bone broth or making soups with the full bone in there, can be very, very healing to the intestinal lining. Things like L-glutamine or zinc carnosine or butyrate can be very healing to the intestinal lining. And then look to see if you have antibodies against any of these compounds. We can look at it in the blood as well as in the stool. At the end of the day, if we want to restore hormones or reduce inflammation or just look at all the factors that contribute to increased autoimmune risk in women, testing and nutrition and lifestyle and supplementation that is targeted go a really, really long way.